Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing British media with your host Sam and
I'm Josh. I'm looking forward to this one, Sam. So let's just get straight into it. Start off British TikTok. Now, I think this is one of my favorite things about British media, to be honest. We've got the Hustle House. We've got Big John doing A-list at the moment. He's definitely been supporting me through it. I don't know what you think about that, Sam.
yeah, I log on, I see him in the morning, I'm like, oh, it's giving me the power to complete my exam today. Truly.
Exactly, that Bosch energy. I mean, Cal the Dragon, a couple of years ago, he was popping, winning every single game in his garden. It's true British heritage.
And moreover, on British TikTok, we're going to talk about Becky Jones. Becky Jones is pivotal to British TikTok, I go on, I see her what I eat in a day. I see her just living her best life. And it's honestly, it's humbling, It's great to see someone become so successful. It's such a nice person. But then I also like to talk about, the man himself, Paul, Go back, a year and a bit ago, Josh? He was all our age, We were hoping to see him in Manchester, but sadly we didn't. But yeah, he was
all over the UK.
Yeah, he's been all over the UK. He was something great. It was a great time when Paul was popular.
So let's move on.
The BBC. Now, most people in the UK know the BBC. Pay a license fee at £159 every year for a TV license. But the BBC is a public service broadcaster with its goals to inform, educate, and entertain. Moreover, it needs to provide impartial news that reflects the wider culture of society, because the UK is a very culturally diverse place, and people want to feel represented, and that is the BBC's job, to make sure that everyone feels represented. Now,
exactly.
The BBC is governed by a thing called the Royal Charter. The Royal Charter, which is renewed, I think, every 10 years, is like a way of governing how the UK changes and changing the BBC's guidelines in line with the change in UK. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Josh.
Definitely. I think the BBC are really making a lot of efforts, make sure everyone has a voice and is heard, especially with, new presenters, targeting a bunch of different minorities and people in the UK. And it's good to see because everyone deserves to be represented.
Exactly. Even in any stage of the BBC, whether they're starring in it, whether they're producing in it, any stage of it, really good to have a diverse cast.
It's good to have an impartial news source because there are a lot of, services that are biased and do sort of to twist things. But the BBC generally don't do that, and I think it's really good. But going on to some of the more shows, the redo of Gladiators this year, that was brilliant, and the innovation on the BBC, it really is prevalent. But let's move on to one of BBC's biggest competitors, ITV. So ITV, they aim to entertain and connect with millions of people in the UK and globally, of course, reflecting and shaping culture and building brands with quality content and creativity. So for a few examples, The Chase. Everyone loves The Chase. Bradley Walsh, we love it. The Beast. Personally, it's my favourite game show. It's something that I just love watching. But you've got shows like X Factor. Obviously, it's not going around too much now. Britain's Got Talent, blockbuster shows. And it does show their creativity. I don't know if you've got any favourite shows in ITV, Sam?
I just think stuff like The Chase, it's pivotal to British culture, and it's great that the ITV can home these great shows, and how much they reflect the UK. It's terrific.
Exactly. But what else in British culture and media do we all love?
British films, indeed. Now, some of the films that we have on here are very innately British for many different ways. When Americans think of the UK, some of them will just think, oh, it's all like Harry Potter, Everyone loves the Cornetto trilogy, obviously. It's a pivotal trilogy of films with Simon Pegg himself in it. And then, of course, we have social realism in the UK as well, a genre very well known for I, Daniel Blake as well. A very good British film, showing parts of the UK that you wouldn't really normally see in mainstream media. And then we even have the classics. Yeah, very huge impact, like Wallace and Gromit as well. It's just truly terrific, the range of films that we have, honestly. I don't know if you have any thoughts on this, Josh.
Definitely. I mean, personally, my favourite films, they do have to go down to Harry Potter. I also want to respect Hagrid. Obviously, the actor that played Hagrid recently died. So obviously I want to pay my respects there. You know, he was brilliant in all those films. You know, I remember watching him as a
Indeed.
kid. I think everyone did love Harry Potter as a kid. But moving
British
away from
music.
films, we have British music. This is big for me. There's a lot of British artists that I personally love, especially Rizzle Kicks. They're not going around as much now. They broke up a few years ago. But that hip hop genre, huge to me, especially Oasis too. Got bands like the Beatles, you know, they're all in my Spotify playlists. And Sam Ryder, Eurovision 2022, what a performance that was from him. Another one close to my heart. I don't know if you have any artists from Britain that you love as well, Sam.
I mean, Sam Ryder, you know, he's a terrific man. He just needs more, you know. It's terrific. And of course, the Arctic Monkeys as well. Who could forget them? Who
Exactly.
could forget them?
But where's music played in Britain?
British radio.
We've got loads of radio stations in the UK. Heart, especially Heart Northwest, is something I listen to quite a lot. BBC Radio 1 as well. They've got a lot of niche music and, you know, stuff that you don't really listen to that much. So it's always good to like get some new songs in my playlist. Is there any radio stations that you love, Sam?
I remember back in the day on the trip to high school listening to Radio Wave.
I do miss the peak of Radio Wave. Those are good times.
Now, there is another way, though, that you can view media in the UK. And this is more of a traditional method through British newspapers. There's many different brands of newspapers. You know, we've got The Mirror, The Times, The Express, The Sun, you know, all showing different stories, mainly, you know, from their different sort of ideologies as well, which is key to remember. So, like, different people view newspapers for different things, you know, like someone from the Times, you know, be a bit more conservative than someone from the Mirror, obviously. But yeah, I definitely think that's something that's really good about Britain. You know, there's a broad range of newspapers, you know, that convey different ideologies, which is it's really good, you know, to get a different scoop of sort of from different perspectives. I don't know about you, Josh.
Yeah, it's definitely something for everyone, like you say, with the different ideologies. Obviously, you got some centered as well with The Guardian. The great thing about newspapers, it's quick, you know, a massive event, like, for example, the Euros that are coming up, the story straight away, headline the next day. But yeah, it really is something for everyone.
Yeah, I definitely think, though, as we move towards a more digital future, though, at least traditional newspapers are going to be a lot less sort of demanded and maybe even sort of go out in a way, you know, which is sad to see.
I mean, obviously, it's all revolutionizing into online now. But something that will stay strong in Britain is, of course, TV. Obviously, a lot of you watching have probably heard all about the Baby Reindeer hype. What a series, by the way.
Series indeed. Wow.
I mean, it's a personal story side as well. I mean, Richard Gadd to produce a show like that and obviously act in it as well on all his life experiences really it's amazing. It was just such a good series. But other British series that I personally love, Friday Night Dinner. That's a massive one. Only Fools and Horses as well. The Office. You know, I think obviously you got the American Office as well, influence from it. Like, we really do make some good TV shows. Don't know what you think about that, Sam.
I think I love me a bit of the UK Office, honestly. It's got some great characters in it, I can't lie.
Of course, man. Of course. But to sort of wrap up a little bit about, you know, media in the UK, we want to give our thoughts.
What I believe is with the growing and changing dynamic of British culture, like the landscape of representation in media will only improve, you know, from those that are like starring in it, to those that are producing it, you know, all the different components of media as a whole. For example, the new Doctor Who. And moreover, with the changing landscape of stuff such as like digital convergence, it'll be interesting to see how, for example, how newspapers survive and maybe sort of how films are adapted and TV shows are adapted. Like, if we look back at TV shows, you know, it used to be more common, like, oh, watch it every Wednesday night, you know, the new episode. But now binge watching becomes really popular, you know. So it's just interesting to see how it'll keep changing and changing for the growing demands. And I really think it's going to be interesting how media changes in the coming years. How about you, Josh?
I think that's a great point. I've sort of say, you know, I think British media is accessible to a variety of different audiences. Like, there really is a range of shows for different demographics. But a lot of the content I do feel is like produced to benefit the general public as well. And like I say, the BBC's role as a public serving broadcaster supports that. But I also believe like the industry awaits change, you know. I think there's going to be more cultures integrated into mainstream media rather than being subverted to like, you know, niche like stations as well. So I think we are going to see a more balanced representation of British life, definitely.
Seems like that's the end of our second episode of the podcast. So we hope
Thank
you
you for
enjoyed
watching, guys.
media. If you have any ideas what you would like us to do next, what area of Britain you'd like us to focus on, then don't hesitate to put it in the comments below. And yeah, cheers, guys.
Thanks.